Welcome, and thank you for standing by. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. During the question-and-answer session, please press star 1 on your touch-tone phone. Today's conference is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. Now I will turn the meeting over to Ms. Ellie Stout. You may begin.
Thank you, and good afternoon and good morning to those of you who are still in the morning time zone. My name is Ellie Stout, and I manage our prevention support services here at the Suicide Prevention Resource Center. And today I'm very pleased to welcome you to our orientation webinar, SPRC Partnering with You to Make Your Program a Success. We're very glad you could join us for this time together, and we'll be using this event to get to know each other a little bit more. We'll also talk a bit with you about some ideas about how we can work together in the next 3 years of your grant program. And we do want to congratulate all of you on joining this new cohort of state and tribal grantees. Before we get started, I wanted to point out some features of the live meeting software that we're using for this webinar in case some of you are new to this platform. Except for an introductory session where we'll open the lines so everyone can introduce themselves, your telephones will be muted for the rest of the webinar, and this is to minimize background noise because we have a fair number of people on the call. But that doesn't mean that you can't participate during the rest of the session. And there are a few ways that we'll ask you to participate. The first feature I'd like to point out is this Q&A pane you see here. And this allows you to type in a question at any time during the meeting and send it to us. To open your Q&A box, you can click on the Q&A button at the top left of your screen, and that should open this Q&A pane. You can type in your question and click on Ask, and we'll see the question and either answer it if it's a very brief question or add it to our list for the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. We won't be using the raise your hand function during this session. We'll also be doing a few polls today to allow you to share a bit more about yourself and your experience. And the poll will show up in the center of your screen when we pull it up. It will look a little bit like this. And we'll ask you to vote. And when we do, please click on the best choice. You can only pick one choice, so we ask you to pick the choice that most closely represents you. And then once everyone has voted, we'll close the poll, and you'll be able to see the percentages on the right-hand side of how everyone voted. This example doesn't have any votes yet. So we'll experiment with the poll function after our introduction so you can get a chance to try it out. And finally, I wanted to let you know how to ask for support. This is the website and number for the live meeting technical assistance folks, and they can talk you through any trouble you're having connecting to the meeting. And now that we've walked you through the webinar platform a bit, I want to go ahead and get us started with today's session. So just to give you a sense of how we're structuring our time together today, we'll start with some time for all of you to introduce yourself and your program. Then we'll give you a little bit more information and background about SPRC and our prevention support services. We've also asked some experienced grantees to share their stories with you, so we'll be giving them some time to speak. And then finally, we've saved plenty of time at the end for your questions. And again, you can type in questions at any time whenever they strike you, and we'll add them to your queue for the end of the webinar. I also wanted to mention before we do get started that we are archiving this webinar. It will be available on our website, so you can always go back and look at the slides or listen to the audio again, so no need to take extensive notes during the session. And so I think we're ready to start with the introductions, and for that I'm going to hand it over to Courtney Yarholer.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good day, everyone. My name is Courtney Yarholer. I'm one of the prevention specialists with SPRC, and I believe we as prevention specialists will introduce ourselves a little more in depth a little bit after these introductions here. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to give everyone that is on the call, all of the sites an opportunity to introduce themselves and really just kind of get a chance to get to know one another. So we're asking that you choose each site, choose a reporter who will briefly give your name of the site and the project, and briefly introduce the project staff that will be joining us today. So with that.
So sorry to interrupt, Courtney, but operator, if you could unmute all the phone lines, that way we can get started.
All lines are open.
Thank you, Ellie. That would help. So whenever you see your slide, those of you that whenever you see your slide, please just jump in.
Hello, this is Nicole from American Indian Health and Family Services, and I'm not sure who else is on the call from our group. Is anybody else here?
Hello, this is John Marcus.
Okay, well, thank you, Nicole. And we will move on to our next site here.
This is Fort Peck and the University of Montana. Hello?
Hi,
hello. And who all do you have on the call today?
We have in shop our fiscal administrator, Leona Hastings, an assistant, Nancy Berg, and an associate director, Matt Taylor, and this is Marilyn Brewer Zimmerman. Do we have anybody from Fort Peck on? Oh, nobody's from Fort Peck on. This is all University of Montana staff.
All right, well, welcome.
Thank you.
And our next site. Do we have anybody from Carrie on the call? Well, to be on mute or something, but one of our sites we have with this this cohort is the Kerouac in Southern Alaska Wellness Partnership. So we'll be moving to our next slide. And do we have somebody with us from the Native American Health Center?
Yes, my name is Sarah Samuel. I'm the evaluator for Native American Health Center. Hello, everyone.
Thank you. Welcome. Our next site. Do we have somebody from the United Indian Health?
Hi, this is Amy Botzler. I'm the Behavioral Health Clinical Director from United Indian Health, and I'm not the only staff person here, but I'm the only one on the call today.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. With regards to our tribal grantees for Cohort 6, we're just going to go down the list here. Do we have anybody from Bristol Bay Health Corporation joining us today? Okay, they may not be on the call or may be on mute. And forgive me if I say some of the names wrong, but Kankandeska Community College. Do we have anybody joining from there? What about the Cherokee Nation?
Levi Keeler, Associate Director of Behavioral Health for Cherokee Nation. And
this is Melissa Pitts-Johnson, Prevention Specialist for Cherokee Nation.
Great. Well, welcome. Hello and welcome.
We're getting a good amount of background noise. If you're typing on your phone and could selectively mute yourself, or if you've got other background noise and could minimize it, that would be great. Great.
And maybe if you have already introduced yourself, you could go ahead and mute the phone. We appreciate that. Do we have anybody joining us from the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes?
Hi, this is Becky Eero, and here in Northwest Montana on the Flathead Reservation. I believe I'm the only staff person on the call today.
Great. Well, welcome. Thank you.
You.
Anybody from the Havasupai tribe? And, okay. Well, what about the Muskogee Creek Nation? Do we have anybody joining from Muskogee Creek Nation?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Daley Terrell with the Muskogee Creek Nation. I'm the Director of Behavioral Health and the Director of the grant.
Great. Well, thank you and welcome. We'll move on to NARA Northwest, Native American Rehabilitation Association. Do we have anybody joining from there?
This is Mike Chapman, the Youth Program Manager and the Project Director. And I'm the only one of us on the call today. One of us is actually doing some work on this grant out in the community.
Well, hello, Mike. Welcome. Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
And moving on to our Native Americans for Community Action. Do we have anybody joining from Native Americans for Community Action? Okay, if not, then we'll move on to Navajo Nation. Do we have a representative from Navajo Nation on the call with us? Or the Omaha Tribe of Nebraska? What about the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe? Right, okay. I'm hearing some noise. I don't know if folks are trying to get off of mute or what. But as we look down the list, do we have anybody from the Pueblo of San Felipe joining us? What about the Southeast Alaska Regional Health Consortium?
Yes, this is Cheryl McAllister, Behavioral Health Prevention in Sitka, Alaska.
Great. Well, hello, Cheryl. Thank you for joining us and welcome.
Thank you.
And moving on to Tanana Chiefs Conference, do we have anybody?
It's Tanana Chiefs Conference. This is Cindy Nation, Project Director.
Cindy. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for letting me know how to say that. I've been wondering, and so I appreciate that. Tanana Chiefs. And about anybody from the Tohono O'odham Nation? Okay, moving on. What about the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians? Okay, do we have anybody from the Yellowhawk Tribal Health Center joining us today?
Yes, this is Becky Greer. I'm the project manager here, and I'm joined by Joe Streetman, who's our behavioral health program manager.
Great. Well, welcome, and we thank you all for joining, and everyone that had a chance to tell us who they are. And we had a few that weren't able to join us today, but I know we'll connect with them down the line. And that's our tribal grantees, the Cohort 6. Now we're going to move into our state grantees. And so when you see your slide come up, I ask you to please jump on and introduce yourselves, and then we'll move through, starting with Connecticut.
Hi, this is Andrea Duart. I'm the project director.
Hello. Well, thank you. Thank you for submitting a beautiful picture. And moving on to our next state, Delaware.
Hi, this is Pam Lilley from the state of Delaware. I work with the crisis unit as treatment coordinator, and also here is Dr. Harvey Doppelt. He's the grant director.
Great.
Hi, this is Gabby from University of South Florida. I'm the lab manager here, and I'm joined with our RB coordinator, Sergio.
Great. And which one are you in the picture?
I'm the one in the purple shirt in the front.
Oh, well, hello.
Hello, this is Stephanie Nishimura from Hawaii, and I'm the evaluator in the project.
Great. Wow, look at those pictures. Those are really nice. Thank you and welcome.
Hi, this is Kimberly Yates with the Department of Behavioral Health for Kentucky, and I'm actually just filling in for Jan, who is there in the picture. She is on vacation this week, so I'm just here to take notes for her.
Well, great. Well, thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Megan Condit and Donna Vikander in Minnesota. And we have a couple more on the call, I think.
Dave Lee, Project Director, joining in also.
Thank you very much. Thank you and welcome. And we will go to our next date.
This is Scott Perkins, Project Director with the Missouri Suicide Prevention Project.
Okay. Look at that picture. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Melanie Porto. I'm the Director of the Suicide Prevention Initiative in New York State and the Director for this grant project. And I have about 6 of my grant people with us. If you want to introduce yourselves.
Carrie O'Brien from the Suicide Prevention Center.
Cassandra Cal from the Suicide Prevention Center.
And Fred Meservey, our Director, just is on another call, but he'll be out.
And also on our team, but not on the call, is Pat Brewer, our Youth Prevention Specialist, Sylvia Gigliotti, our New York City and Long Island Specialist, and Sam Petropa, our Upstate New York Specialist.
You see him on the phone?
Are you on the phone, Sam?
I'm also on the phone, Melanie.
Oh, Melanie.
Hi.
Hey, that's Sylvia.
And Fred's here now.
Okay. Fred, say hello.
Hello.
All right.
I'm sorry, we had a bit of a crisis call just come in.
Oh, okay. Let's deal with that.
All right, well, thank you all. Thank you all for joining us and welcome. And our next state, North Carolina.
Hello, my name is Shannon Miller. I'm the Program Director for North Carolina, and joining me today in my office is Melanie Turner, who is the Grant Assistant.
Great. Well, thank you, and again, welcome.
Hello, everyone. This is Carolyn Givens, the Executive Director of the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation. We were remiss in sending beautiful pictures of the state of Ohio, but this is our brand for the foundation. I don't know if there's anybody else on the conference call from Ohio, but Cheryl Holton will be the Project Director of the Ohio Campaign for Hope Youth Suicide Prevention Initiative.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for joining and sending your brand. So we appreciate your presence. And moving on to Oklahoma.
Hi, this is Julie Geddes, the Project Director for the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services for the Fairleigh Smith Grant, and I believe there's someone else on the line. Are you there, Deborah?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I'm here too.
Deborah Tower, our data analyst, is here as well. I think that's it.
Great. Well, hello and welcome, and thank you for joining. Our next state is Pennsylvania.
Hi, this is Matt Winterstein, doing the training for our project here in Pennsylvania, and you guys have much more interesting pictures than we do, so I apologize.
No apologies necessary. These are good pictures. So.
It's the flavor of who's who.
Well, good. Well, thank you again for joining. And again, on the call, we have next is Rhode Island. I hear some whispers. Do we have somebody from Rhode Island joining the call? Okay, well, we're going to move on to our next slide, and if you happen to, maybe you're on mute or something, if you get on, just speak up, and we'll be back to you. So, next state is Tennessee.
Hi, this is Margia Williams. I'm the Principal Investigator with Tennessee Department of Mental Health.
Well,
I don't believe we have anybody else on the call. Speak up if they are, because we're in different locations.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, and welcome. And Virginia? Did we have anybody joining us from Virginia? Okay. Let's move on to our next state. Washington?
Jennifer Barron here from Seattle, Washington, and I am the project director. And our title is From Classroom to Community, a Team Approach to Suicide Prevention.
Great. Well, thank you for joining. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I believe that's the end of our states. And again, I want to say congratulations personally to each and every one of you. And I'm going to turn it over to Gail at this time, who is going to take us through an activity for the next few minutes. And Gail?
Thanks, Courtney. Hi, everyone. Oh, I'm sorry. You finished with what?
Oh, the screen is yours.
Oh, thank you.
So Ellie, if the operator could please remute the participant lines.
All lines are muted.
Thank you. Go ahead, Gail.
Thanks, Ellie. So we're just going to do a quick poll at this point. We'll have one later on, but oh, there we go. We have the poll loaded. So the question is, how will you be using your GLS grant, your Garrett Lee Smith grant? And the options are developing a new suicide prevention program, continuing or expanding on an existing program, or a combination of both. I'm just going to give people one more minute to their selection, and I will show the results. I'm going to close the poll.
Gail, I think we can see the results.
Oh, can you? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you could. Apologies. All right. So as you can see, it looks like an overwhelming majority. 60% are doing a combination of both of those things. And then some are continuing to implement an existing program or expand on it. And then a few of you are going to be developing a new suicide prevention program. So thanks, everyone. And there will be another poll coming up later in the webinar.
Okay. Well, this is Ellie again, and I want to thank everyone for taking the time to introduce yourselves, and thanks for sending in such lovely pictures of your communities and your states and your staff. It's really nice to get to know you a little bit more. And I'm going to now give you a little introduction to SPRC, and for some of you, you're already familiar, so thanks for indulging us. And then we will introduce our prevention support team to you. So the National Suicide Prevention Resource Center was called for in Goal 4.8 of the National Strategy for Suicide Prevention, as you can see here. And since 2002, SPRC has been funded by SAMHSA, so we're kind of a grantee like all of you, to provide support and resources for the nation. And we are housed in a nonprofit called Education Development Center. And at present, we have about 37 staff based around the country working with the Suicide Prevention Resource Center. In addition to our work providing support and assistance for states, tribes, and campuses across the country, we serve several other key functions, as you can see here in this wheel. We have a training institute, which offers free online trainings as well as regular research to practice webinars. we have an extensive website and online library that offer a variety of information and resources on suicide prevention. And we also have a weekly newsletter, the Weekly Spark, that can help you keep up to date on the latest resources and information. And finally, we also partner with many different national organizations and federal agencies to help move suicide prevention forward at the national level. And we really see these other sort of functions as complementary to our work with all of you to support your work in the field. In terms of our role in supporting the Garrett Lee Smith Suicide Prevention Program, we offer a continuum of services to support and sustain your suicide prevention programs. So you can see your grant program is right there in the center. And to support you, we offer, as you can see, both individual and group technical assistance and support. I mentioned we have a number of resources that are available to you. And we also have some ways that you can connect with your peers in the grantee community, both through a grantee listserv that hopefully all of you are now enrolled in, and also through our new communities of practice. I know many of you have signed up for our pilot community of practice this year, focusing on work with LGBT communities, and it's our plan to facilitate a new community of practice each year. So if you weren't able to join us this year, we hope you'll be able to participate in future years. So what does all this mean to you? Well, here are some examples of the ways that we've supported grantees in the past. And really we see our job to listen to where you are and where you want to be 3 years from now, and then to give you any support and assistance that you need to get to your goal. So we're here to help you succeed and to hopefully leave a lasting legacy for the future generations. And before we introduce ourselves individually, I wanted to share with you this word map of our team's values in our work with grantees. And this is something our team generated in a recent retreat. And I think it really shows that we see our work with you as a partnership in which we meet you where you are and provide you with resources and support to help you build on assets in your community and to ultimately achieve your goals. So now I'm very pleased to invite the PS team to introduce themselves. This is a picture of the whole team from our recent retreat, and I'm going to start with Courtney. Take it away. Are you on mute, Courtney? Courtney?
Looks like he's disconnected from the call, the line he originally had.
Well, Courtney works from his home office in Oklahoma, so he uses a cell phone, and it may be that we just lost him there for a moment, so I'll go ahead and move on, and maybe he'll come back on in just a moment. Our other senior tribal prevention specialist, Patrice Post, is actually unable to join the call today. She had a different obligation, but she works from her home office in Arizona, and she has worked in northern Arizona for a number of years doing suicide prevention work and supporting that work in tribal communities in northern Arizona. So I'm sure those of you who will be working with her will really enjoy getting to know her, or maybe already have met her. Gail?
Sure. Thanks, Ellie. So I'm Gail Jaffe. I'm a senior prevention specialist, and I've been with SPRC for just about 5 years, and I work in our Washington, D.C. office. I have a handful of Cohort 6 grantees at this point, and also other grantees from different cohorts, and a couple of unfunded states I work with. And some of my interests at work include school-based projects, and I've been doing some work in that area, and then also work within tribal communities. So I'm especially excited to be picking up a couple of new tribal grantees this time around.
Thanks, Gail.
Sure.
Julie?
Hi, my name is Julie Eben, and I'm a Senior Prevention Specialist here at SPRC. I work out of the Newton, Massachusetts office. I'm really excited to be working with you all. One of my particular interests is around supporting LGBTQ two-spirit youth, so I'm excited to be heading up the community of practice effort, and I look forward to working with you all.
Thanks, Julie. Mika?
Hi, everybody. My name is Mika Varia. I am a prevention specialist in our Washington, D.C. office, and I am excited to be working with my new Cohort 6 grantees, and I also have a few campuses and some other grantees from other cohorts. And my everything having to do with violence prevention, includes bullying, interpersonal violence, and child abuse. So I look forward to working with all of you.
Thanks, Mika. Carrie?
Thanks, Ellie. Hello, everyone. My name is Terry Yellowhammer, and I am recently new to the SPRC staff. I'm really excited to be working with all the tribes that you see there, as well as the state of Minnesota, where I'm calling from. I'm based in Minneapolis. I have a special interest in bullying and in working in tribal communities and collaborating with states. So it's nice to be here.
Carrie. And this is a picture of me. This is Ellie. I've been the lead for the Prevention Support Team here at SPRC for the past 4 years. And my particular interests are health communication, social marketing, and also cross-cultural communication and work in different cultural communities. Excuse me. Carrie?
Hi, everyone. This is Carrie Smith, and I'm a campus prevention specialist out of our Newton, Massachusetts office. I've been with SPRC for just over 2 years now, and I work primarily with campuses, but also do a little bit of work with a few unfunded states and United Indian Health Services. And while campus prevention work is really a passion of mine, I also have a real interest in mental health advocacy and access to mental health care. Thanks.
Thanks. And Sheila?
Hi, this is Sheila. I, like Carrie, am a campus prevention specialist. So I work primarily with campuses, but also with the American Indian Health and Family Services of Southeast Michigan. My particular interest is in cultural responsiveness and cultural mental health, and with a specific interest in the Latino community that I'm looking forward to working with you.
And Courtney, are you back?
Hello. Yes, I am.
Hi.
I'm back. I'm terribly sorry about that. I tried to unmute myself and I hung myself up. So.
Well, you're not too late. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
One of those days. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Courtney R. Holler. I am I'm enrolled at the Sac and Fox Tribe of Oklahoma. I'm also Pawnee, Oto, and Creek. I'm new to SPRC. I started with SPRC back in June of this past summer, and I'm based out of Oklahoma and have had the privilege of working with tribes, reservation-based, very rural tribes, as well as urban Indian populations in my history, in my past. I have a background with Indian education as well as mental health and substance abuse services, and so I really have enjoyed becoming a part of the SPRC team, and I really look forward to working with each of my new grantees here that you see here on this list. And some of you I know, some of you I will get to know, and I look forward to working with all of you. Those of you that know me know that I'm just always excited and interests lie in just empowering our Native youth and empowering and developing, building capacities of programs that work with American Indian youth. And I love looking at our strengths that we have in our community and really drawing from the wisdom of the culture, wisdom and culture that our cultures provide us. But with that, I'll just want to say hello and welcome, congratulations, and I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you better.
Great. Thanks, Courtney. So now I'm going to hand it over to Gail.
Thanks, Ellie. So at this point, we actually wanted to change things up a bit and thought that it would be beneficial and also interesting for you to hear from grantees who've worked with SPRC for a few years about their own experiences in their own words. And so you're going to hear two clips, and the first one is going to be from the Shandaska Sakana Community College's Wichoni Oitika, I hope I got that right, project, and I believe you'll hear Pat Conway's voice, and she will be joined by Tony Halsey, and they've worked on a project together. And so Ellie is going to load that clip for us.
Okay.
Tony Halsey speaking. The supportive team effort was a new concept for me, and to have SPRC as a member has been very helpful to the Wichoni Ohitika project. There are several examples that I can offer that illustrate how involved SPRC is with the local projects, including taking the time to get to know us on a personal level. And this has created an atmosphere of trust and confidence in SPRC capability. The first example that I'm going to share is the loss of several community members to suicide. The Wichoni Ohitika project needed information on post-vention efforts for families experiencing loss, and the SPRC feedback and support was immediate and useful. We received a guide to post-vention efforts as well as practical suggestions that we can use to document what we had implemented here locally. SPRC has also assisted our project by reviewing our strategic plan for suicide prevention and offered suggestions on what we might also include. The second example that I'm going to offer is that after product development, SPRC has previewed our brochures and public service announcements to ensure that we have the proper language and imaging on our project, on our products that will be disseminated to the public. And we wanted to make sure it was appropriate for our targeted groups, and SPRC has assisted us in providing that feedback to us, and also assisted us in sharing these products on the private pages for the State and Tribal Grantees.
This is Pat Conway. As the evaluator, I play a support role with the Wichoni Ohitika project. I, too, was new to the expanded support team concept, and I think the action of that support team initially really made it possible for us to know, to ask, and accept help. When Tony talked about trust, I think it was related to that. So during the monthly phone calls, having the SPRC support person offer, when she would hear something that we were talking about, she would offer suggestions about resources that we didn't know about that we might go to. And I think that's how the trust in the ability of SPRC to assist the program developed. So I think that initial outreach was really important. A couple of examples. One specifically related to Wichoni Ohitika. We've been working on developing a surveillance system, and the Wichoni Ohitika staff have worked very carefully with and closely with other members of the coalition in the community in developed a pretty strong relationship that allows data collection, but we haven't closed the loop in terms of being able to pull data together on a regular basis across organizations, compile it, and then disseminate it. And, the SPRC staff person connected us with another tribal community that has a very successful surveillance program. I spoke with the researcher who works on it, and the next step will be for the Wichoni-Ohitika staff, Tony and her staff, to talk with the program people at White Mountain Apache. And that was exactly what we needed in terms of confirming what we'd already done and thinking about next steps. And the information provided has led to a direct outcomes that are positive. So I think with this work regarding the surveillance system, we'll end up with a stronger system that can continue regardless of the funding, because it'll be embedded in the community. And
well, the Wichoni-Ohitika project and the local coalition have put in a lot of time and effort on our strategic suicide prevention plan for Spirit Lake Nation. And with the assistance and review by SPRC, we've been able to finalize that during the last working year. And we have a document, a finalized document, which is still a working document subject to changes as needed, but it does provide guidance and direction for our local efforts. So, we are very appreciative of the help that was given to us on that product. And also, the Wichoni-Ohitika project has developed brochures and public service announcements that are distributed and aired on a regular basis. And, this is possible after review by our elders and the SPRC for appropriate language and imaging. So we respect the suggestions of SPRC and enjoy our collaborative partnership.
I think that the contact with SPRC has demonstrated respect for the project also. I think she's been respectful about the knowledge, wisdom, and success of the program. She's been very supportive.
And then respectful in a cultural sense also. And so, and I appreciate it that SPRC, our contact person, took the time to come and visit us, so we know her on a personal level.
That's it for that one, Gail.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ellie. So next you're going to be hearing from Dana Sawyer with Delaware's Project Life. And, again, it's going to be another example of a grantee who used its prevention specialist from the beginning of its grant. And for all three of the speakers that you've heard and that you will hear, they've talked about how the consultation team of SAMHSA, Macro, and SPRC really benefited them, and how SPRC in particular helped them. So I know Ellie's going to load this clip, and then you'll hear Dana Sawyer's voice.
Well, starting out here in the state of Delaware, we really hadn't done a lot of work around youth suicide prevention, so we were really happy to get this grant to help us develop a stronger infrastructure around this very important topic. And I was so pleased to have our project officer through SAMHSA, as well as our macro consultant and our SPRC consultant, help guide us and help develop the program as we kind of evolved over the first year or so. And I used SPRC and our consultant in several different ways, which were extremely helpful to us. I used them as like a technical assistance type of person, so I'd oftentimes email SPRC, our consultant, to ask, what is your experience around this certain topic? We wanted to do some work around LGBT youth, and I needed some information and expertise around that population, and they were very helpful in gathering some information for me, putting me in touch with people who also have programs around the LGBT youth that we could use for kind of consultancy as well and network with other states. So that was very helpful. We also had a topic around cyberbullying that I reached out to SPRC to help us coordinate and define our efforts around preventing cyberbullying. And we also had a situation with a horrendous sexual abuse situation in our state that was overwhelming the community and families that I reached out to SPRC to help support our efforts around engaging families and communities and developing programs and a system whereby we would help families ensure they get the help that they needed and thus obviously prevent later suicides from the sexual abuse has occurred. So I used them in ways to gain knowledge. I used their expertise to reach out with other states. Our SPRC consultant also helped us with developing our website and providing information about what worked in other states, what didn't work, and the type of verbiage we used on the website that would be most helpful. They also helped us in completing and disseminating our toolkits, and I also used them as a resource around cultural competency, which was beneficial to us as well. And I always found them to be knowledgeable and timely in their responses, which helped us greatly in developing our programming as we move forward. Well, also what was very helpful that we did a couple times is our SPRC consultant hooked us up with other states that were doing things like us and had been through earlier developing programmings and systems that we could be in touch with. We didn't have to reinvent the wheel. We learned from them what their lessons learned were so that we didn't repeat mistakes. And they also served as a mentor to us, a couple states in particular. That was very helpful. I had the opportunity to hook up with a lot of different people doing the like things that we were doing. So networking was extremely helpful to us. And I enjoyed meeting people. I enjoyed conversing with people via email and phone around different areas that we were focusing on and using them for moral support per se and knowledge about certain topics and how to access resources that we might not have otherwise accessed. And I also used SPRC as kind of like a clearinghouse for resources and expertise. They were the ones I always went to if I had a question around the topic of youth suicide because they had a lot of knowledge obviously around it. And I also used information internally that they gave me in terms of, developing our program and evolving it over the 3 years of the grant to increase our sustainability efforts and helping us create messages and materials that were on target and appropriate to populations and audiences that we wanted to reach.
Okay. Go ahead, Gail.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Sorry, I thought I heard a little bit of someone talking in the background. Anyway, so those two clips hopefully gave those of you who are new to us and new to the grant program a sense of what you can expect out of your relationship with your prevention specialist and just the support that you receive from SPRC in general and how we work as a team with our SAMHSA and macro colleagues to support you in your efforts in a comprehensive sort of way and to, to really work together to ensure your project's success. And for those of you who already know us, maybe some of those things were sounding a little bit familiar. Hopefully they were. And we're looking forward to, to doing this work with all of you in Cohort 6. So at this point, we're going to have another poll, which I believe, there we go. And now that you've heard a bit about, our work at SPRC and what we offer and how we work with your SAMHSA project officers and also with macro, we're asking the question and wondering whether you've worked on a SAMHSA grant before. And right now the numbers are changing a little bit. It was looking like, it looks like the majority, at least at this point, has. And then some of you have not. I'm just watching the number change here. I think we're good at this point. So it's like roughly 70% of you have worked on a SAMHSA grant before, either a GLS grant or something different, I'm sure. And then about a third or 30% have not. So that's really useful information, I think, for us to know, and probably interesting for you to know about your peers. And at this point, Ellie is going to talk to you about what to expect in the coming months.
Thanks, Gail. And you know, I think we also do the pulse a bit to kind of give you all a sense of this sort of new grantee community. So as you heard from Dana and Tony and Pat, who unfortunately weren't able to be here for this webinar, so we really appreciate them taking the time to record some of their thoughts. A part of our function is to connect all of you with each other to support each other and learn from each other's experience as well. So before we open the floor up for Q&A, I just wanted to briefly outline what you can expect in the coming months. I know there's all kinds of information coming at you fast and furious in these first few months of your grant. And so from SPRC's side, certainly, hopefully you've heard from your prevention specialist at this point. We'll be joining you in regular calls that will include your SAMHSA GPO and your macro TAL, hopefully starting this month if they haven't started already. Next month, we'll be starting a quick scan of grantee needs, and that will start in October. Sorry, this is October. That will start this month with a brief questionnaire that we're going to be asking the project directors to fill out just to give us a sense of where you are and where you feel your priority needs are in terms of technical assistance in certain key areas. And that will inform a call that we'll arrange with you and your project team in November to talk through a bit more where you need support, what kinds of resources and assistance you need, and hopefully we'll come out at the end with a nice technical assistance plan that really reflects where you are and where you want to be for the coming months. We'll also be holding a few webinars and calls in November and December, and so please watch for more details on those. And most of the announcements about those events and other information come through our grantee listserv, which you've probably already experienced the number of announcements. But I did want to mention that you can use the listserv as well as a way to connect with other grantees. So if you want to share a success, as we saw one of your colleagues recently shared some strategies and approaches, or if you have a question for the group or you're trying something new and you want to know who else has done it, please feel free to use this listserv to your advantage. So those are some of the things coming up, and now I want to hand it to Gail for our Q&A portion.
Thank you. So at this point, we've set aside a number of minutes to do some Q&A with you for whatever might be on your mind at this point related to what we've covered in the webinar, or if you have questions outside of it that you feel hadn't been already answered while we were presenting content. And there are a couple of ways that we can take questions from you. The first is to type your question into the Q&A box that you will see the top left side of your screen, the Q&A tab. So that's one way. You can also press *1 to ask your question on a phone, and that puts you in a queue, and the operator will selectively unmute your lines. So please feel free to ask your questions at this point. We'd love to hear from you. And I'll be keeping an eye on the Q&A box. And in case, I know that Ellie had mentioned it before, but we will be archiving this webinar on the grantee section of SPRC's website. So if there was something that was on a previous slide that you may have missed or wish you could go back to, you'll certainly have a chance to do that. Or if you have colleagues who weren't able to join the webinar today, but you would like them to see what was covered or to hear it.
Looks like we answered everyone's questions already.
We are that good at SPRC.
Wow. Sometimes it takes a while to get to know us before you know what questions you can ask. So, and we also have a number of folks, as we saw in that poll, that have had a SAMHSA grant before, and I know many of you have had a Garrett Lee Smith grant before. So we do appreciate everyone joining to share with us today.
Okay. We can give it like another minute or so just in case people are, I know sometimes if you do hit *1 to get into a question queue, it can take a little bit for the operator to
take your information.
That and exactly, and to open up your line. But I do want to second what Ellie had to say. I know that a number of you who are on today are really good sports for joining, and I know that you know us already, and you know a lot about us. It doesn't mean that you can't ask any questions right now, but we understand that you may already have had your questions answered. And for those of you who are new, again, would welcome hearing from you today. But like Ellie said, sometimes it's a little bit hard to know what to ask when you're so new to the program and to us.
And we do have a question.
We do have a question from Julie Geddes, who wants to know if we archive past, I think she's talking about the weekly SPARC newsletters. And we do have a system for archiving that. I'm less familiar with what it is right now on our website. Ellie, do you?
Yeah, if you go on our homepage, www.sprc.org, in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see a link that says News, and that allows you to select the weekly SPARC. It'll show you the current issue, but there's an ability to browse the issues by date. So you can just go back to previous weeks and open up the archives that way. And I should also mention that SPRC will be launching a new website that hopefully will be easier to navigate and find things on. So we'll tell you a little more about that in our November webinar. But if you've tried to navigate the website and have gotten confused or stymied or frustrated, we hope it should improve by the end of the month when we launch the new site.
Which in prototypes is looking very nice. And so there are going to be some really great improvements to the site, not only the look and the feel, but the way that information is organized. And so hopefully that'll be a bit of a teaser to join our webinar in November and get your own official tour to it, although it should go live before then. All right. I'm not seeing any more questions coming in through the Q&A box, and it doesn't sound like people are queued up to ask them over the phone. So I'm thinking that we should just close out at this point.
Sure. So thank you again for taking the time to join us today. We know you're very busy starting up your grant, so we really appreciate the time you took to be with us. We will be sending you an email. It may already be in your inbox, or it will be coming shortly. Our evaluator will be asking you for some feedback about today's event, so we really hope you'll share with us what went well and what didn't go well. Only your feedback can help us improve. And then this site has just some details on where we'll be posting the event. If you go to our homepage on the right-hand side, you'll see a link called SAMHSA Grantees. And that's where we archive all of our state and tribal grantee webinars. So you'll see a heading of webinar, and this one will show up as the first on the list before the end of the week. So congratulations again on your grants, and we really look forward to working with you, and thank you all for joining us today, and we will talk again soon. Have a wonderful afternoon.